What's up, guys? So we are back and we are in Washington Square, and as you see, we are about the chess hustlers down there. So let's see how good they really are. And here the game begins. So I start off by playing white. Johnny plays black. It goes into a Joko piano game. And here he plays queen e7, trying to castle queenside. And he does. So he castles queenside, and then he puts his pawn on f6. He has this little setup that he's doing. But here I'm just pushing my pawns, playing very aggressively. Here I go a4, b4. And I'm trying to go b5 here to cause some chaos. Here, Johnny is thinking for a little bit. And he puts his knight to a7. Here, I was a little bit confused. I didn't know what this move does. But I went knight f1, trying to reroute the knight to e3. And then eventually to d5 for a nice outpost. So here he pushes his pawns on the king side. He's playing very aggressively on the king side. But I think I'm perfectly fine here. Here Johnny starts to think a little bit and he plays his queen out to g7. Maybe trying to go, push the pawns forward. We exchange pieces. I take his knight, he takes my knight. And here I'm deciding whether or not I want to take. And I do take. I take queen takes. Here he goes, bishop to g4. Now here I was a little bit scared, but I found a way out of this that actually made very much sense here. I was gonna go queen g3, but then he could push the pawn. He could go h4 and kick out my queen with a tempo. So I knew that, and I decided to go queen e3. And now Johnny is calculating a little bit, and he is kind of surprised by his face. So he pushes the pawn. I push my pawn instantly. I'm just trying to kick out his bishop, not allowing him to have any sort of tactics or attacking chances. So he moves his bishop back, and here I'm thinking. And the number one move is b5, and I play b5. And now Johnny says something. He says, keep the camera on the clock. So now he pushes the pawn forward. Here, I actually missed a tactic. I have bishop b6, because if he takes, I have queen takes. And then it was just a huge thing that after I looked over the game, I saw. So now I'm kind of coming into his position, cramming into his position. And now Johnny starts to think, and he plays his rook up. Here I was a little bit confused because I thought that was just a free rook, because now I get to pin the rook to the king. And yeah. Now he's thinking, he's like, did I make a wrong move? Or was that the right move? And actually it was the number one move. So he pushes the pawn, which was a mistake here. I take the rook, which was a little bit of inaccuracy, but I could have taken a little bit later because it was pinned. I didn't have to rush. He takes back with the king here. Here he is losing, I think, about around 3.5 is what the eval bar says. Now the number one move here is to go d4, opening up the position, and I play d4. I try to open the position up a little bit. And here Johnny thinks, and he makes this interesting rook. He makes this interesting rook move. He tries for a rook lift here because he wants to go rook g6 here. I was a little bit scared here, but I knew that I was fine because his king was wide open and my king is a little bit more safe than his. But here I'm thinking for a little bit, and I was deciding my moves and my options, but I played g3. And the point of this being was because if he takes, I can take back with a pawn, and he can't take the pawn because my queen's protecting the pawn. But I should have just went queen f3 in that position. And now Johnny's dancing in the background. He moves his rook to g6 here. He's just trying for something on the king side. Here, I didn't want to go king g2 because it would lead to a pin, and I didn't want to stay pinned. So I went king h2 instead, protecting the pawn and getting my king safe. Now he's thinking for a little bit, and he actually plays this move back. And I was so confused when he did this. I just didn't understand, and he was just tricking me, and I didn't understand what this move does because he was playing almost passively. And now he goes bishop g4, and he was dancing still, and I pushed the pawn. And he's a little bit surprised, as you can see. But he brings his bishop all the way back, which was not a good move. But I chop off the bishop. He takes with the king here. And now I was considering taking the pawn, which I did. And here the best move is to take with the bishop, bringing your bishop into the game. Here I was considering a couple different moves. I was considering going queen to d3 to go queen d5 with a check, or rook a d1. And the number one move is to go rook a d1, but I play queen d3 first. Just trying to go queen d5 with a check and then go rook a d1. So he brings his rook up, and I give a check almost immediately. And now he's thinking, and he goes back. Here I missed a tactic. It's still completely winning for me, but if I would have just took the pawn on b7, I would have just won his queen, but it is totally okay. I chop off his knight here. He blunders the knight. And now here he brings his queen back, and he forgets that it was pinned. And here he resigns the game.